So here we are. What's the crack with body image or body image over the summer?
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of generic stuff, but I think we can also tailor it for body image over the summer as well. What is the
Yeah,
crack with body image? Massive topic.
massive topic. And I wish that we could say to you, here, just do this, this, and this, and your body image will be great.
And you're never going to have negative body image again, but that is not reality. And I think
That
we
is
should
not
start maybe
reality.
with what even is body image, like nail it down. I remember when I first came across even the term body image, it was like the word image, they really focused on the word image, and it was like imaginary, how we're imagining ourselves. And I was like, so it's not even fixed. It's like how we're imagining this experience in our bodies, and the embodiment of it. And then, well, what is that to do with how we think and how we feel and how we perceive being in our bodies?
Yeah, how we
Big
speak
topic.
about and to our bodies. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's not and this is the thing is I think a lot of people confuse it with it's about what size you are. It's about your weight. It's about the number on a scale.
Mhm.
And that's obviously
Simply
not what it
not.
is. It's about our it's
How
about
you
our
experience yourself.
perception.
And I think when I remember training about 10 years ago when we were in a room of 100 people and we done a body image questionnaire and you had to rate where it was out of 30. And it's interesting you made that point, Sinead, because one of the points at that stage that I noticed was that, people who you might have thought, oh, they wouldn't have a problem with body image. They put their hand up as having, they were the worst on the scale. And you were like, wow, that really shifts your belief. If it has anything to do with, size, shape, or weight, it's all down to the internal experience. So, what can we do
Totally.
in the summer? What can we do that's going to help?
Well, I think first, why is it harder over the summer? Like, even just to name that. So often, why it is harder and more challenging for people over the summer is that, and things we would hear all the time within our hub is that, you're thinking it's holiday season. So you're going on more holidays. So on holidays, you're probably sometimes going to hot countries and maybe wearing less clothing and maybe having to purchase things like swim togs or the
Mhm.
bikinis or whatever it might be, the shorts, the sleeveless t-shirts or whatever it is. So that the kind of the increased skin exposure brings around and about more sometimes uncomfortable feelings and experiences for people.
Yeah.
Um,
And even the
so
messaging, I suppose, the messaging really intensifies all in the summer body and the bikini body and the beach
get the
body
bikini
ready and
body,
all that crap, like.
yeah.
Like
So
that we
like no
used to
wonder.
like really succumb to is in, this is the next thing, so many weeks now to my holidays and like it's mad now whenever you're aware of it, isn't it?
Oh, it's everywhere. And I think the pressure then, for the holidays that so many people experience is just horrendous. And to be honest with you, all the years that I was dieting like mad right before a holiday, like it ruined the holiday
Yeah.
because I still wasn't happy on holidays. And then
Mhm.
I was full of the fear of the
Mhm.
weight regain and my out of control eating and when that was going to stop. I
Mhm.
mean, it was just horrendous. Never really got to enjoy or be present on the holiday full stop. But yeah, so that's essentially, I suppose, and also the heat. So obviously been
Mhm.
more uncomfortable physically in terms of
Yeah.
temperature because obviously the summer months you might be sweating more. And look at sending love to all the sweaters out there. I sweat quite a bit. Now I don't have. I know that there's what's it called? High. Oh,
Oh
there's
no, I
a
don't know. I know what you're going to say, but I don't have the word on the top of my tongue either.
the word is gone from my head.
Yeah. We'll come
Anyways,
back to you.
sorry. That's just going to annoy me. I
Are you going
absolutely
to Google
cannot.
that? Well,
I
while
am.
you're while you're Googling that, then I suppose, let's talk about first of all, it's being aware of the holiday messages and trying to let them go over your head and know that this is a massive part of diet culture, that they love these messages and that really it's a load of bullshit. And then I
Mm.
suppose it also is acknowledging because when we did ask some of our members in our hub, what they did you find the word?
I found it hyperhidrosis. I knew it was something H, hyperhidrosis.
Is
So
that
obviously
excessive sweating?
that's excessive sweating, yeah, from like obviously I can think of it's like, not it's not just like yeah, excessive sweating, but it can be such a debilitating condition for so many people. I watched a documentary on it for
Hmm.
some people that like would sweat profusely like from every
Yeah.
area of their bodies and how
My
like
goodness.
buying clothing and having the sweat marks and it can be
Oh,
really,
really?
really,
Yeah, God, that
really,
is
really tough.
because I
Um,
would call myself a dry sweater. Even when I was exercising and running, I don't get the wet sweat, but I get like grit and salt. It's so weird. It's so
oh
weird, but it's not,
yeah.
yeah. But
Oh,
our
I
bodies are
sweat
so
like
different. With other
profusely,
people,
like.
should like we might have run the same run or done the same walk or whatever, and other people are drenched. And I was never like that. It's an interesting one.
And that sensation alone, like on your body, like sweating,
Mm.
like it's sticky. It's like it's
Mhm.
not a nice sensation.
Yeah.
Um, So then when you tie that in then to summer and clothing and you know, maybe feeling like you can't cover up or whatever that might be, that brings about more stress, doesn't it, for so many
And
people
anxiety
over
and
the
all the
summer.
feelings around that,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
yeah. So
So it's how
people
then
definitely
do we, no
take
matter what
time.
it brings up for you, I suppose it's how do we navigate and work with that? And I think one of the things when you were Googling there was looking at diet culture and being aware of diet culture. So raising your
Yeah,
awareness around the messages for a start and being able to put a barrier or boundary in place. I suppose even where you'll be exposed to those messages, particularly on social media. I was
yeah.
saying that we asked some of the hub
Mute,
members, and
mute,
that's
mute.
one of the things they said, wasn't it? They were like, unfollow, unfollow, or mute, or whatever.
Yeah,
And then a close is a big one, you know, in terms
yeah,
of like finding clothes for this time of year. I mean, honestly, like we've just had a heat wave. And you never thought you'd have a heat wave in Ireland where, you know, and then the other times you're like, we're so cold. So we need, in one year, we need such a diverse range of clothes for our bodies.
yeah.
So
It's
when
totally
we,
unpredictable here.
yeah, so I suppose when it comes to then being, you know, in the summer, it is ultimately buying clothes that do fit the body. That,
Yeah.
and I know that some of the girls have said they found a few brands and a few places, and they're like, they're my places, and I just go there, and that's where now I now get clothes to fit my body.
Yeah, like I know one of the girls was saying that like she buys stuff now on Shein because they
Mhm.
fit her body and she's got a wide range. And the reality of it is that there's also a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of questions around purchasing maybe in these from these companies, let's say Shein or whatever they might be. And I totally get that. But actually she made a really valuable point. She was like, I refuse to feel guilty about that because like shops on the main street don't cater for my body size. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
don't feel guilty if you're living
hmm
in a larger body
yeah.
and you can't purchase in, I don't know, on the River Islands or wherever it might be. Well, that's probably not, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know much about shopping, so just excuse the ignorance when it comes to, like, I'm not a shopper at all and don't really care about fashion, so I'm not the person to ask. But the point is that don't, don't be guilty for purchasing
Yeah.
in these, what are they called? Like there's a name for them. These
Oh, I don't
hot,
know.
not high
Stop asking
street.
me these questions.
Sorry, I know, yeah,
We're
no,
meant
I'm
to be
like,
talking
anyways,
about language.
but the point is don't feel guilty wherever you can source
Wherever you need to
clothes.
get your clothes from, be it a charity shop, be it at a local high street, be it online, wherever. If you get clothes that fit your body, whatever size it is, that's key. And even though you're not a shopper, Sinead, you do have clothes that you like and that
Oh yeah,
fit your body. That's the
yeah.
key. Yeah.
And every summer, because it's funny, I don't wear shorts. I don't really like shorts. They kind of catch. I don't just like them on me, right? So, and it's not
Oh,
about
we'll
how they
have to
look.
work on that.
No, they just don't fit. I don't like shorts on my body. They don't fit right. And now I wouldn't be a lover of jeans because, like, I suppose my thighs are bigger and my waist is maybe smaller, and sometimes they just the fit of them. And
Yeah.
I used to say, I remember saying to Nessa when I done her styling course, and I remember saying to her about jeans. I've always struggled with jeans, and I need to find wherever they do jeans that
Mhm.
fit my body. She's like, Sinead, unless your body gets measured and somebody tailors them to your body,
Yeah.
because your shape is not catered for as
Yeah.
much, right? So
Uh-huh.
it was understanding it's not my body isn't the problem.
Yeah.
It's the fact that
It's the cookie
jeans
cutter shapes that they're making jeans in. It's never,
exactly
yeah.
they just don't suit my body type. So anyways, what I find is that I love we used to call them, my mother used to wear them when we were younger. They're kind of like the yogi pants, like does your pants hang low? Do they wobble in the
Yeah.
wind? The ones that are kind of like the lower crotch and
Yeah.
they're so light, they're so airy. I bought about they're so cheap. And I bought so many a good few summers ago, and I live in those over the summer
You do.
and my
And you
tank
love the
tops.
more loose flapping around your legs, whereas I'm
Yeah.
the opposite. I like
Oh
the
yeah.
leggings and the jeggings and the isn't it? And you're like, get them off me.
Oh yeah, and I like the loose dungarees, and they're all the
Yeah.
things that I like over the summer to make me feel comfortable. But no, you're so right. Clothes and having clothes that there's things there I can wear in the summer that actually don't make me go, oh no, I don't want to wear that.
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't wake up in the morning and feel like we've got no other choice but wear clothes that
Yeah.
we hate wearing. Like let's find stuff that will work.
And I
And
would say get key pieces that just don't in the summer wear like all the loose thing because that's all that fits or it'll do. I would say take your time wherever if you're shopping online or whatever you know you're doing and find some key pieces that you do feel good in or that you know that
yeah,
you feel the best in out of what's on offer rather than sometimes women as well I think just you know fired on or that'll do or you know it'll be cool but you know do take the time to feel good, to feel as good as you can in what you have. Don't pick something for the sake of picking it, I suppose,
yeah,
is what I'm saying, because I would say that too, you know.
yeah.
So
And
clothes is
also don't
important. This is
Don't forget.
this is your permission to go shopping for anybody that does like it and you need a few
Oh
more
yeah,
bits and pieces.
absolutely. Did you mention underwear? I can't remember.
No, but somebody mentioned underwear, which I is a really good point, is if underwear that has fit. Because if you don't, if your knickers are cutting
Is
into
there
you,
anything worse than
yeah,
wearing knickers that
or a
don't fit?
bra
Or
that's
like,
not fitting
or a
right,
bra
or
and
yeah.
you're all day fixing it and pulling at it.
I was in a shop the other day and they had a menopause bra and I was like, what is this? A menopause bra? But actually it was a bra that had no wiring and was very like, had none of the metal bits. And I was like, because I'm perimenopausal now, and I was like, I have been buying a lot like that recently. I didn't realize, have they identified a trend in women that as we now age and we get older, we're not so much into the wiring and all the bits. We just like it to be
Yeah, but we want
sucked
to be more comfortable.
and holding, and we're all into comfort. And I was like, now they're calling it a menopause bra.
Sure, look, they want to jump on
Anything, but good
any trend.
underwear is important. And underwear, I am a massive fan of underwear that you feel good in. So, ladies, if you're buying, or if you have underwear that's too old in your cupboard, or there's holes or
If it
rips,
has holes, it has to
or
go.
bits of elastic hanging out the side, or it's faded in color, get it into the bin and go out and buy yourself new underwear. And no matter if anybody else is going to see it or not, feel good in your underwear yourself.
Because
You
you're
know,
going to see it. And
that's it.
you're so right. Like, how many of us, hands up, that have literally, I still go through my drawer and I pick up ones that I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to wear that. Because they're so old, but they're still in the drawer, and I still pick them up and say, oh no, I won't wear them. And unless I'm very stuck, I'll
When you
still
haven't done
find
the
the new
washing in
one.
2 weeks, they're the ones that come out.
I know. So then I'm like, okay, well, why are they still
Yeah.
there? And like, we could just get rid of them. But when I wear them, I don't like them. So like, why don't I just get rid of them?
Yeah.
But there's something about us hoarding knickers. So this is your invitation that if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I want to improve my body image, what is one thing I can do? Well, maybe it's empty out your knicker drawer and
100%.
purchase a few pairs of new knickers. And certainly for bras, I know for me, like I know that like yeah I've some support in my bra throughout the day, but like in the evening, Jesus, I can't wait to take that off because of the
Yeah.
comfort of just being able to kind of be a bit more free when I
Hmm.
come home from work. There's nothing better, I find, than just coming in and taking
Get it
off your
off,
bra.
yeah.
Because if you're wearing one throughout the day that is too tight, now obviously it has to, like most of us want a bit of support, but it shouldn't be sore and you shouldn't be
No.
like, you
Have the
shouldn't
red
be
welt
pulling at it,
marks around it? Yeah, no.
because that means what essentially is happening is your attention is being brought to your body
Yeah,
all the
all the
time throughout the
time.
day.
Your nervous system is kind of go beep, 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 here, feel this,
Yeah.
unconsciously.
And
Yeah,
it's like constant messages of discomfort, body, discomfort in my body, discomfort in my body. So we want to shift that. So making sure
yeah,
we're wearing really good clothes and
yeah,
underwear is key.
100%. And I suppose too, it comes back to even some of the principles um, in intuitive eating and, movement, the principle around movement. I find that key for me as well, is to just try and move your body in a way that you like. There is something about moving your body that does help your body image, particularly if
Oh,
you are
definitely.
having, the difficult body image moments as well, as
Yeah.
release the energy through walking or strength training or whatever you can do. It doesn't matter, but it's releasing that energy because like body image moments, they're really difficult.
Really difficult. And you can have a swirl of shame or
Mhm.
disgust or uh, sadness, or it can be quite an intense experience emotionally. And as we know, emotion is energy in motion, and one way to move and shift that is to quite literally physically move your body. That will actually generate
Yeah.
some movement. And we're not saying that every time, you go out for the walk that you're going to come back and be like, oh, I love my body now.
Yeah.
But it is very likely that you will have brought down the intensity of
Yeah.
that emotion
Yeah.
by a couple of good few notches. So like I've yet to meet someone that said I regretted going out for that walk. Like that never
Yeah.
happens. You always feel a bit better. Like
Yeah.
don't you? You always feel better.
Yeah, nine
So
times
that's
out of ten you do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Unless
if
there's
it's just
something
a
else
smidgen.
really going on that you regret it. But no, 9 times out of 10 you do feel better when you get to the end of it. And then I suppose in another, not more serious, but one that people don't often recognize, and I know we were talking about this, is that when you are experiencing more intense negative body image, and it's known it will pass, but when you notice that it has intensified more, it very often has to do with what else is going on that your mind is projecting into your body. And we were having a conversation even that, I know there's a lot going on recently for me and stress around obviously my friend's sick and it's very, very stressful time in my life. And I've actually noticed, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking more about my body, but I also am able to catch that on and recognize that, oh, your mind is saying, let's get busy thinking about your body because we don't
Yeah.
want to be thinking about that really stressful, awful thing that's happening at the minute.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But once we know that, we're able to catch it on and then we're able to work with that. And then brings in the next point, which is be self-compassionate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how can we expect to feel better in our bodies if we are speaking to ourselves with lots of criticism
Mhm.
and nastiness, essentially? Because, like, some of us speak to our bodies like we wouldn't dream of speaking to anybody else about their body, and yet we make it acceptable for our body, and it's
Mhm.
not acceptable. And the reality of it is that self-criticism, it doesn't result in any changes. It's not going to mean that you'll look after yourself any better. In fact, it'll do the opposite. It'll keep you stuck, and you will be less likely to actually care for your here and now body. And I think that, sometimes, like, there's only one, like, assurance in life, and that's change, right?
Yeah.
Everything is always going to change. Our body is always going to change. Like,
Mhm.
look at our body from the decades of being a 10-year-old, a
Oh
20 year
God,
old, a
yeah.
30-year-old, a 40-year-old. Like, it's going to change. There's not one damn thing that any of us can do about that. Um, and I think it's sometimes kind of like even remembering that like this is our here and now body right now.
Mhm.
And when we wake up in the morning, there is no amount of criticism or self-shaming or self-blaming that's going to change your body, because, like, weight is not a behavior. There's no switch that we can switch on or off to change our body. And it's also remembering that it's not about our what our physical body looks like.
Yeah.
It's not about our weight. This is, again, coming back
Yeah.
to that kind of
And
first
why does it
point.
shift and change? And even as I said there, it was shifting and changing because of something else which totally was going on that the mind thought it was easier to blame the body. So it's also then looking at, well, what else is going on in my life that my mind has decided to do this? Well, actually, my boss is doing this, or my, friend is like this, or the stress is around a home, or my relationships, and catching that on, and even in the mind going,
Totally.
aha, I see what you're doing.
Because how could it really be about our body when, let's say, I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this, like, if we're out at the weekend and we had a nice dress on and we'd done our hair and done our makeup and we felt really good in ourselves, or relatively good in yourself,
Yeah.
and you thought, yeah, I'm not too bad, I'm doing all right. And
Uh-huh.
then what, like 2 days later, you feel
Two
like a
days
bag of
later,
shite.
and we know that hormones as well, there's another factor. Like
Exactly. Big,
most people, like the week before your period, we often joke, but it is true. I know I signed up to I don't know how many diets because, how I experienced body image the week before was so bad. And
yeah.
7 days later, you're like, how can you think and feel and be like that now and think and feel and be treating your body like that? Totally
And it
different
could be
seven
like night
days
and
later.
day. It could be like
Hmm.
night and day,
Yeah.
that um,
So it's
I
knowing even
suppose.
how to cope with those moments that this too will pass. I can speak to myself kindly. I can treat myself well. I can wear clothes that are extra comfy. All of that. I can treat myself with respect, even though I'm not loving it or liking it or whatever right now. So it's even how you're speaking to yourself and treating yourself in those moments and then the behaviors that you're taking with that awareness.
And I think that we're kind of in some ways have taken a step backwards, I think, in the last kind of maybe 6 months to a year, in terms of the kind of the beauty ideal is re-emerging, I think, in media.
It
And
really
there's a
is. Yeah.
lot of talk about
Yeah.
GLP-1s, and like
Yeah.
we should all be on GLP-1s and blah blah blah. And again, there's never any judgment about GLP-1s, as we often
But the
speak about them.
messaging is quite intense, and body
It is intense.
transformations are quite intense again.
So
Yeah.
the panic
Hmm.
then is the ripple panic societally, is kind of
Hmm.
people are absorbing that. And even people that maybe like would have said, I actually kind of I felt okay in my body, and
Yeah.
in the last year I'm now going, oh my God, I should change my body, or I should focus on changing my body. So don't
It's very
underestimate the
unconscious. It's
impact.
very
It's very
unconscious. It's like
unconscious.
seeping slowly through.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think because, like, there's so many people in the media sharing their journey, and whether that's people like celebrities and whatever, and then, like, also, like, sure, look at every day on your feed, you're going to have the transformation of, like, Ozempic transformations popping up on your feed. And again, we're not anti people taking that at all. It's just, it's very difficult because of the messaging that can kind of
Mhm.
unfold from that, is that it does create a panic and a stress again around
Oh my
body
God,
image for so
totally.
many people.
Yeah.
Or else it magnifies it. So people that were already struggling are now finding it
Struggling even
increasingly more
more.
challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what's coming to mind because I seen it in a group very recently, a small group of women I was taking it, and one of the ladies had come in and and again, this is, we're not judging this, we just everybody has the autonomy to do what's right for them, and be that GLP-1s or bariatric surgery or whatever that is. But this lady had come in and she had recently had bariatric surgery, and she was talking all about it and all wonderful. And and I was trying to bring in the nuances around how complex even making them decisions are. But there was other ladies in the room who were in bigger bodies, and you could really see, oh, maybe I should do that. And well, I've considered, and all the questions were coming through. And it's trying to remember that things are nuanced, and
Yeah,
taking the time to think what's right for you and your body, but also know that as this is all happening around you, it will impact how you feel in your body. And it's trying to, I suppose,
totally.
then come back to what do you know is true for you, that's the right thing for you to do in terms of looking after yourself and treating yourself. Because that's
Totally,
tough.
and it's not a perfect solution like we're sold either. Again, we know that there can be lots of
Definitely not.
complexities and side effects
Hmm.
and consequences, so people need to know that when they make their decision. And it might be the right decision for some people, but again, it's not going to cure your body image. And this is the point
Yeah.
that I wanted to make is that
Hmm.
we know that like when we look at the research around people that have lost a significant amount of weight, whether that be through a
Whatever.
diet or
Yep.
bariatric surgery or whatever intervention, it doesn't really matter. Um, they still
Yeah.
often don't
It's,
like what they
yeah.
see in the
Negative
mirror,
body
despite the
image.
fact that they've
Yeah.
lost all of this weight,
Hmm.
because their body image is not rectified or remedied by weight loss.
That's
It's
right.
a it's a different process.
Yeah.
It's not about the physical transformation. It's the internal, it's the
And,
emotional,
and
it's
I
the
think that's why a
mental.
lot of people come to our hub is because they hit the diet bottom, and they hit like the body image bottom. They've through the yo-yo and up and down, they even know that, in their slimmest, thinnest, whatever moments, they did not feel any better for them. A lot of people in their bodies, they didn't, and I even seen this in the slimming world days, is that people went from, picking on, oh, look at my stomach to, oh, look at that bit of skin now that I have, that they were never satisfied or never happy. And you have to stop and ask yourself, why, and then what can I do about it, as well. And I think even when we're talking about what can we do about it and how can we help ourselves, and bringing it back to how we can help ourselves over the summer, some of the girls mentioned about body checking, about limiting and coming away from body checking and only using a mirror to make sure that, what did she say, that her knickers weren't showing, that her clothes were hanging properly, nothing to do with the
Yeah.
body. And also, being on photographs, because a lot of us avoid the photographs, so being in the photographs and then just not asking to see the photo again,
Yeah.
or not fixating on it. I thought those were two other really good tips.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think it's quite, yeah, like, and I get why people want to avoid photos,
Mhm.
and again, that's okay if that's kind of what you feel you need to do to still do the things like go to the event or whatever. If you want to say that's not for me, that's also okay, and no judgment around
100%.
that. And I think that it's important that we gradually, and again, we might need to do this with a bit of support, but that we might expand our capacity to be in the photos, to like, because that can
Mhm.
be a big part of the experience, right? And also family, and they might want love memories of you being in the photos,
Absolutely.
and like
Yeah.
not to be missing out from all that. But again, if it feels too much to be looking at the photos and looking at yourself in the photos, it's okay to take your time with that and like to say, I'm not going to look right now, but maybe that might be something you work towards, that
Yeah.
eventually you can look at the photos, and eventually you might not feel so distressed by them. Eventually you might
Mhm.
just look at the photos and actually see the experience and the memory and the
Yeah.
feeling of how you
And
felt
that comes to your
looking at
value.
them.
What are you valuing? Well, you're valuing them, time in the family, memories with the family. Even, my mother gave me a photograph last week of my grandfather's aunties. And I was just absolutely mind blown that here's these two women, and they were probably born in the late 1800s, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like looking at them, it was just so mind blowing. And I thought, how many of us are denying that for the future generations because we're refusing to get into the photograph?
Yeah, I know.
So it's the
I
value of, leaving the legacy or the memories, or being, allowing like your children love you no matter what size your body is. And, they will look as
Absolutely.
they get older for this was, me and your granny, or me and your mummy, or whatever. So it's,
Yeah.
it's, it's going, it's focusing on that as well. And I think another one that they said was, because this one really stuck by me, is if you're going somewhere in the summer and say you've been invited to a barbecue, or you have a party, or you've an event or whatever, is pre-plan your outfit. That you're
Yeah.
not leaving it to like that day, or the day before, what am I going to wear, that you have the outfits that you're like, no, I know I like that and that's available, and I'm going to just put that on me for that day. Because a lot of the time negative body image really arises in those moments of dressing ourselves and the stress of going to these things or whatever. Then we blame our body. So pre-planning your outfit, I know that would
And
never be
very
you,
often,
Sinead, because you're like lastminute.com, but still.
I know, I'd be
But it
planning
might be a bit of
nothing.
me.
That
I like planning an outfit now.
Well, you see, like, and this is the thing is that, like, going to these events, like, it's often the stress and the difficulty is just before we go. Like, very often, once we get going somewhere,
Yeah.
it's the get going that's like the hardest part. When we get going and we're with other
Oh
people and we're
yeah.
in their company, if we can actually practice mindfulness when we're there, well,
Yeah.
actually, what happens is we connect into the conversations or what we're noticing going on around us. Like, we're not maybe necessarily so hyper fixated on what we're wearing. And the reality of it is that everybody else there is probably more worried about what they're wearing and what they look
100%.
like.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about what
Yeah.
we're
And
wearing.
like think whenever I always think, look at the thoughts that you have about what you're wearing and about body image when you're going on holidays. And very often for a lot of people now, if you don't get me wrong, some people can experience more negative body image on holidays because of, swelling of flying and all of that. But a lot of people get there and they're like, strip off into your togs, into your bikini, and you don't care when you're there because everybody's doing it. And that's a really good example of how body image actually is helped. And I'm going to say the word healed in community. It's when we all decide to accept this is us, this is our bodies. Okay, we
Yeah,
all have stretch marks or cellulite or fat in our bodies. Who cares? That we act the healing, it's not an individual thing, even though there's lots of things individually we can do to help ourselves. The healing
yeah,
has to be done collectively. And I often think whenever people go away that they're like, I would wear things I would never wear at home, and I've struggled or panicked about it at home, and all of a sudden you get away, you're like, everybody's doing it. Who cares? And nobody's even looking at me. So,
yeah,
you know, I'll get the arms out, or I'll sit in my or not my underwear, my bikini or whatever it is, and not give a damn.
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
So I think that that's probably plenty for people
plenty.
to maybe digest
Mm-hmm.
and come back. And if you have any questions or you want us to maybe elaborate more on anything, do let us know.
Yes, no, thank you.